Yeah. All right. I do believe in ghosts. My faith allows for this, and I know that a lot of people do believe in ghosts themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I've had experiences with ghosts and spirits that have
Mm-hmm.
led me to believe this. So it's not, I'm not taking other people's words at face value. I have my own anecdotal evidence
Mm-hmm.
that's led me to this.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I've always believed in ghosts since I was young. I just thought that they were real. I never had anything to like tell me that they weren't.
Hmm.
And growing up in upstate New York in an old town, there were a lot of people who had experiences, who told me their stories. There were some like haunted places up there. So I don't really like it. I don't like scary things and horror things, but I've always believed in ghosts and had a few experiences. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I will say this. Nowadays, we have this interesting experience. There's a lot of atheists who don't believe in an afterlife at all.
Hmm.
And for me, this is some of the best evidence that you can have that there is an afterlife.
Yeah, no,
Being able
definitely.
to see somebody's apparition after they've left the earth.
Hmm.
Sometimes people have been cremated, buried, and stuff like that. So to be able to see a body or to be able to have an experience with something like that,
Yeah.
and a lot of times it's not even with just a single individual. There's a lot of times a group of people that have the same experience of that apparition. So I think it's pretty cool that we live in a society or in a day and age where it's become more acceptable to talk about
Yeah,
ghosts
totally.
and spirits and other, spiritual concepts.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's get into it. I think we should start with our most official
Yes.
encounters,
Yes.
which happened in Tombstone, Arizona. We went on an official gunslingers and ghost tour there. We went at night and it was pretty crazy what we experienced, but I
To
think
say the least.
maybe we should just talk about the history of Tombstone and maybe why it's haunted or some of these characters that are in that town.
Yeah. So Tombstone was actually an old ghost town. Well, I don't even say it's a ghost town. It's inhabited right now.
Yeah.
It was a town that was created out here in Arizona, southern Arizona, near the border. Basically, a lot of miners went up there,
Mm-hmm.
mining copper
And
and
silver.
silver, different minerals like that, for a while.
This was like the 1880s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They
Looking
had like
for.
a very interesting time. I think they had like a drought season basically where they
Hmm.
weren't hitting any copper, any silver,
Hmm.
and I think investments went bad there, but people
Yeah.
decided to live there anyways. And within that time period, a lot of people that we come to know, like Wyatt Earp and
Hmm.
his brothers,
Hmm.
ended up being a sheriff and opening up a couple of places out there, like the OK Corral, right? They
Yeah,
opened that up.
the Big Nose Kate saloons. There was like a
Yes.
poker room or something that the Earp brothers owned. But yeah, this was like the wild west was Tombstone into Tucson and then like over into California and things like that. All these like old Wild West towns
Yep.
that became known as ghost towns because once the ore and everything dried up that they would just move
Move
on
on to
to
the
the
next
next
one.
town. Except Tombstone is kind of important and unique because there are a lot of characters there that we all know, real life people who are very well known, and they're ghosts and people that they interacted with did still, hang around that space.
Yeah. And a lot of the ghosts that are there right now are actually revolved around Wyatt Earp, his
Hmm.
brothers, and the Ike Clanton
Yes.
gang, right? The
Yes.
Clanton gang. And a lot of the people that died within that group from their battle between basically they were, bandits and banditos, and they were
Hmm.
basically robbing and pillaging Tombstone and
Yeah.
everybody around them. And the Earp brothers
Yeah,
went on
stealing
a
all the money
rampage
from the
to
mine.
stop them. They were sheriffs.
Hmm.
But I think we're giving like a pretty shitty history review of this place. But you're not coming here for this.
Most people
Yeah.
know Tombstone, but just in
If
case.
you watch the movie and it's not as historical as you would like it to be, they have their liberties obviously,
Hmm.
but the general story is
Is
real.
there? Yeah.
And that's when you go to Tombstone. It is very much like that. It's actually one of the most. I think it's the only fully built ghost town out here in Arizona that is completely built out. You
Yeah.
go to a lot of these like old cowboy towns and ghost towns, and usually it's very small storefronts, and it's just like a plaque or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it's not even a real building. These are absolutely real buildings, and a lot of tragedy.
Yeah, they did a really big like restoration project when the movie Tombstone came out, so they could make it like a interactive Wild Wild West town with the history, but also keep things very time period specific. I mean, we can kind of get into it, but also just talking about the actual Birdcage Theater. When they closed the doors in 1890, whatever it was, or 1900, the owners believed that they were going to come back and open it up, that they were just taking a little break to get some money, go to Tucson, go to wherever, and that they were going to return, that this town was going to be booming again. So the cool thing about the Birdcage Theater is actually that everything in there is the original pieces, the original furniture. So there's a lot of history, a lot of like things that go on in the Birdcage specifically because of this history, that they literally locked the door in whenever they abandoned it, and then whoever owns it now got to see all of that stuff being in there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people had hope that basically Tombstone would turn into Denver.
Yes.
And Denver was a large mining town. A lot of, ore was coming through there, and they basically built everything with brick.
Right.
So instead of having a what do they call it? A matchbox town?
Matchstick town.
Yeah, where it's basically everything's made out of wood and it lights up immediately if there's a fire and everything burns to shit.
Yeah.
They wanted a more permanent residence. And I think they actually were able to do that with the courthouse. They were able to get the finances to be able to build a brick courthouse amongst all these wooden homes. It looks a little crazy because you can see where all the freaking money went, and it could have went towards the people and the city. It was, bad use of finances in my opinion. Because 10 people worked in that courthouse.
Yeah, it was.
It's just like
for
ridiculous.
that time. Yeah, it's crazy. Now it's like a beautiful courthouse. But speaking of that courthouse, let's get into it. Yeah.
Yes. So we did take a ghost tour out there in Tombstone. It was very interesting to say the least. In the beginning of the tour, we started. I think it was the sun was just about to set. So the sun hadn't gone down yet, and we're given EMF readers actually. And what was the name of the company?
Gunfighters and Ghost Tour.
There you go, Gunfighters and Ghost Tour. So hit him up if you're ever in town. This individual, he does a great job. He's very historical. I think he's actually a teacher.
Yeah.
A history teacher.
Yeah.
So he knows his facts. He's not giving you mumbo jumbo about whatever the heck it is. He's telling the truth. So we're on his tour with him, walking around, and I'm a little cynical of ghost tours in general, because I do believe that people will take advantage of a situation and make up a tour or fabricate stories and make it sound spooky or whatever it is, and you'll never experience a ghost encounter on these freaking tours. Well, we're walking around and we get to this courthouse. Well, up to this point, everything he's saying is just history. And I'm like, all right, these are facts. And we kind of know this stuff because at that point we had done our research. So we had read everything about everything he was talking about. We just wanted to see ghosts or something, which is kind of an unrealistic expectation if you really think about it.
I was like, we're definitely going to see the Earp brothers, or some, 1800s, woman with the big, dress and everything. I was like, for sure, we're going to be seeing people walking, No.
Not at all. So we get to the freaking courthouse, and, mind you, outside it's probably around 50, 55 to 60 with a breeze, which is not bad. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty normal for the time. Well, we get to the courthouse, and I asked the guide, I'm like, is this...
He was going crazy deep in the history
into
at
the
that
history.
point.
Not even talking about any ghosts, anything at all. He was just going deep into history, which is awesome because it gives context to what he was talking about later on, which is very important, right? So, I'm kind of impatient. And I'm my mind's ruined. I'm like, is he fucking...
You were like, are there ghosts on this tour, or what are we going to see a history lesson?
That's what I was like, are we even going to talk about ghosts or anything that's happened? And he's like, oh yeah, definitely, because he's very enthusiastic. And immediately as that happened, there was a crazy gust of wind. And now obviously the wind was blowing, but it wasn't doing anything to knock off my hat.
Oh, right. I remember.
Well, as soon as I asked the question, my hat was knocked off into the middle of the road, actually.
Yeah.
And he said, we're about to go right here. And the direction in which the wind came from that knocked my hat off was the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, in that moment, I'm like, all right, I could shut up.
Yeah.
I see what's going on here. They like this guy, the spirits, and they'll follow him because he is historically correct.
Right.
He's not beating BS. So I could see like why they would be attracted to his aura, or whatever you want to call it. So he pulls us up to the courthouse, and what happens? What does he show us?
So on the side of the courthouse, you can see like going into the back, there's these gallows where everything all original. So we were standing on the side.
And what
of
are
the
gallows for
courthouse.
those who don't know what that is?
What is it, like
A noose. It's where people hang people back in the day. In the 1800s, they used to take people to the gallows. Either it was a death sentence, which was you're going to get hung in front of the town and everyone's going to watch, which was very common, or you're going to be in prison.
Right. And at this point, it had become almost like it wasn't even like a morbid thing. Like people were like cheering it on and stuff. So that's why they had to move it to behind the courthouse, where it could be like a little bit more private almost, where you're not getting like crazy mobs and stuff. So yeah, there was a wall built there, like present day, but originally it was just the hangings and stuff like that. So we could see the wood, we could see
and
everything
you could see the
like
noose
that.
and everything.
Yeah. And he was telling us to stand like perpendicular almost to that wall and shoot into the corner of that wall.
And mind you, all of us had EMF readers.
And temperature guns and EMF readers. Yeah.
To basically tell you the difference in temperature whenever, there's a drop, as well as to be able to tell electromagnetic frequency, which a lot of people say that ghosts shoot off, they set off electrical frequencies. Yeah. So that's why we had those things. So
yeah. And we were like doing it at this, he was telling us to put it right on the corner of the wall, and it was significantly colder in that spot.
Well, it was below freezing. It was, I believe it was 31 degrees, which is, 1 degree, right? But like, we were outside, it was like 55. And in this area in which which was the closest that you can get to the gallows, it was below freezing.
Yeah.
And there was no, like, I was thinking maybe I was looking up at the top and I was like, maybe the jet stream is doing this. But the jet stream, the wind coming off the jet stream was not as cold as it was down there. And that's, and everyone's going to say, heat rises, right? But how come in the other areas in that courtyard, there was completely different temperatures and they were getting hit by the same exact jet stream.
Right.
So we were very much like, what's going on? And it got freezing. I mean, like, I was wearing a pea coat and I was already
in that
cold.
spot. Yeah, because as soon as we left that spot, the temperature was fine. And he had told us, like, on the summertime tours, because of course it gets 90 degrees there.
No, more than that. We're talking about Arizona during summer. It's like 100 degrees at night.
And it's still cold.
And it's still cold in that spot. That's where it's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? So by this time, Emily and I are like freaking out. So I'm looking at my EMF reader and I'm shooting it off and it's going crazy near the gallows. I would walk away from the gallows and go somewhere else because I used to be an electrician. So I know about EMF readers and I know that they set off, obviously your cell phone can set it off. Different things can set off an EMF reader. So I'm going to specific areas where I know there's no electrical at all.
Right.
And it's going crazy. So once I go to the corner, to this one corner area, and I'm shooting it right there, I notice that the reader goes all the way up. So I walk away and it continues to follow me. The reader continues to go off and it's indicating that there's this big electrical current that's right next to us.
Right. Yeah.
And I was nowhere near the building. The whole time, my cell phone wasn't setting it off. It just didn't have enough read on it. And I just really couldn't explain it. And I remember he looked at us and he was like, yep. It's happening.
Yeah, no, literally. That was like one of the like weirdest parts because we were all. It was just like nothing was happening. Anthony made that like smart remark, and then it was like from that point on for the rest of the tour, they were like, "Oh, you want to see ghosts? Like, fine, we'll do a video for you." Like, sorry, we were being boring.
Yeah. So we continue the tour and we go from the courthouse. He talks about like one of the lawyers that basically defended a man that was hung in front of his house. Which is like, the citizens of this town in Tombstone were freaking savage, bro.
Yeah.
Like they were about it. You commit one crime, chop your hand off, or you're getting hung.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be in prison for 30 years. Like there was some crazy sentences.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, dude. Like, I mean, I get it, right? Back in those days, but they were pretty extreme. We got towards the center of the actual like main road, and he started talking about the Earp brothers, and actually the youngest Earp brother was got shot and was killed by one of the stores. I forgot which store particularly, but we were like walking in that direction, and before he had even said something, we crossed the main road going towards the store where the incident had happened with the Earp brother. And I felt like right here, like something hit me, but it felt like somebody stabbed me in my back. And I like literally turned around like, who the like what usually, like, you know, kids will run into you at places like this. Like you always have like an incident like that. So I'm like, maybe this kid like ran into me or something.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Nobody touched me. Nobody was near me. And then he said it. This is the location where one of the Earp brothers died, and I think that's what set off the crusade where Wyatt Earp went out and just like killed everybody because of that.
Yeah, Morgan.
Yeah. So when Morgan was killed and shot, I felt that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, didn't your mom have a little bit of it, like a experience too? Like, didn't she say she felt like queasy or something like that?
Yeah, I thought in that spot too, it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't feeling too great. But then also that was like where the old Wells Fargo branch, the original branch was too, where a lot of stuff, like I said, they would get robbed all the time of people trying to steal the mining earnings and, you know, literally make off like bandits.
Literally.
So there was a lot of activity in that.
And speaking of that spot, we actually we have a video where we were right there in front of that spot at night on TikTok. I literally was setting off the EMF reader right in front of the entrance of that. And it's now, I believe it's called Arlene's, is the location of the store.
Was it downstairs or upstairs?
It was happening upstairs.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So there's an upstairs patio right there. And the EMF reader was not setting anything off like
in the store
towards the store or anything like that. It was the above. So yo, dude, or like, you know what's crazy is that door was completely shut and you have to open it. One of our doors just opened up, and we have our house is actually a part of the podcast because we have a spirit here in our house. We believe.
Yeah, this bedroom door just opened up.
Let me show the door.
Shut it like hard.
Huh. Dude, no, because you heard it. Like
I didn't hear it.
Well, we'll hear it on here when it like pulled open because you know how it wedges.
Yeah.
It's not an easy door to open. Like no wind could push that open. Anyways,
that was just interesting.
So, wow.
Always,
dude.
So yeah, the upstairs. You were shooting the
on.
EMF at the thing, and then my mom was shooting the temperature, and her EMF thing was going off like crazy.
And the temperature was going down. So where I was standing, her mom was shooting me with her temperature gauge, and the temperature kept on going down and going down. And then her your dad's EMF reader completely shut off.
Oh yeah, the battery went zapped. Yep, it was 100% charged, and then it went zero. It just completely dead. And the whole rest of the night, it never turned back on. I remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And then another part about this is when we went to the theater. So what happened?
Yeah, so then after that we walked to the Birdcage Theater, and we were just looking through the windows and through the doors and stuff. And we were thinking that we were like seeing stuff in there. My mom was like taking pictures of just all the artifacts and things like that were in there. And we thought that we saw something in there, but it was just my dad messing around with the laser.
Yeah, laser.
We were like, oh my god.
Yeah, we saw we saw this laser.
And it was my dad literally
having fun.
Joking around, yeah. But my mom took so many pictures from there. And then was that the last stop?
That was the last stop in town.
Yeah.
So from that point, remember that her mom took all these photos. So from that
And
point,
that was, yeah, and then that was the end of the tour. The guy left.
literally
and
just
we were
left.
on our own.
And then we went from that point to the graveyard.
Yeah, the Boot Hill graveyard,
Boot
which
Hill
is
graveyard.
like right at the beginning of town where all the people who died in Tombstone were buried in this graveyard with their boots on. That's why they call it that, Boot Hill graveyard. They were like real cowboys and all this stuff. And I like didn't want to get out at a graveyard at night because it was like 9 o'clock at this point. And my dad, he's like the same as me. Like he gets scared of this stuff at night. So we were sitting in the car and Anthony and my mom got out and like went and were looking at the graveyard and all the tombstones and stuff like that. And
obviously, like you can't get inside the graveyard at night. So we were outside of it, just like taking pictures and looking. There was a lot of orbs, a lot. It was pretty crazy from what you could see. Just with your eyes. Yeah. I will say this. It was creepy. Yeah. It felt like I felt a demonic presence. Yeah. It was. And it wasn't a normal like spirits. You go to some graveyards and it's very peaceful and you could feel like the presence of God there or just like rest. This place, like there was an entity or a spirit or something that was like lurking around. Yeah. All these people, you know, maybe not even them. It's just like something else was there. So I got creeped out. I didn't want to stay out there. Yeah. We went inside, and the next day, what happened? Well, yeah. So yeah, after that, we drove home. Everything's fine. And then the next morning, when my mom woke up, I think she was gonna like post the pictures of like on Facebook and stuff of the tour and of the town and everything that we had gone through. And she went on her camera roll, and she had 0 photos. Not like just her photos from the Tombstone, from the Birdcage Theater were deleted. Like she had 0 photos. I went in her like trash, like the recently deleted, 0 photos. Her entire camera roll was white. And like she was like, thank God she had her like laptop with her and she like plugged it in and got like some of her photos back. And all of the photos came back except for the Birdcage Theater and the Boot Hill graveyard. The like OK Corral photos were there. All the like pictures of us from like before were there, like of earlier in the day. But from that moment where she started taking pictures of the birdcage and further on, gone. Not deleted. In the trash, nowhere to be found. And it's pretty crazy because we ended up actually going back the next day because we were visiting Bisbee, which is like down. We'll be talking about that actually after this. The guy who worked there told your mom that this happens. That a lot of people will go there, take photos, and literally the whole camera will be deleted. Yeah. Or anything that was from that moment is gone. The birdcage photos get deleted all the time. Or they're distorted. Like I was going to say, or they're super blurry. Which she does have a picture of my dad and her standing outside the OK Corral that is clear on her phone. But as soon as she'll like send it to somebody or try to upload it, it's blurry. And it's funny because she uploaded it like recently again, like TBT to like our time in Tucson. Yep. And she uploaded that picture and again it was blurry. And I was like, Mom, stop uploading this blurry picture. And she was like, I don't get it because it's clear on her phone and it's clear when she's on Facebook. But as soon as she hits post, it comes up blurry. It's very interesting. It's like the weirdest thing. That is crazy. But yeah, that guy at the birdcage, he was like, yeah, this happens all the time. He was like, either if you get to keep your pictures from there, you'll definitely see orbs. You'll definitely see like whatever. Or a lot of the time they're super blurry or just deleted. And that's the thing. There's some interference going on in Tombstone. Something is happening there that is causing photos to be blurry. You know, a lot of the temperatures have dropped that, you know, significant drop. You know, it's like 20 degrees difference from that one area to where everywhere else is. And it's not explainable. You can't naturally explain that. Yeah. It's a little creepy there, dude, but I love it. Yeah. I'll tell you, the energy of Tombstone is not, at night, it's charming. It's actually really cool because you reminisce like, man, this is how this shit was back in the day. Yeah. This is really cool. But at the same time, you really like, this is how it was. Like, this is how people were living. No, it's true. It's very, it's rough. I will tell you that. Yeah. And then after that, we went to Bisbee. Which is like a little bit
later on in development. I think that mine was like opened in the 30s or something, or like the 19, like later on than Tombstone. And that town, Bisbee, they have their own ghosts, their own stories, and
Yeah.
it's like crazy because yeah, it's like 30 minutes down the road and like 20, 30 years later, but still
It's pretty crazy.
eerie.
I mean, we did go and we visited the Copper Queen
Hotel.
mine and a hotel. So what happened with the Copper Queen Hotel? What is the story behind that? Why is it haunted?
So that hotel, actually, it's one of the longest running hotels in the state of Arizona. Ever since it did originally open at like in the 20s or 30s, whenever that was, it's been open every single day since. And so it's actually pretty crazy the fact that it's been operable with all of this like stuff that goes on, and it makes it like a tourist destination because you have the daughter, I think she was the daughter of the mayor, the first mayor, Julia Lowell, who was a prostitute, and she had her business in this hotel when it first opened. She had, of course, a bunch of clients. She had her own room on the third floor that was like right by a stairwell. She had her own entrance and stuff, and she actually ended up falling in love with one of her clients. She wanted him to leave her wife for her, and she, unfortunately, he didn't leave his wife, and she threw herself off that third floor. And I actually don't think she died. I think she died in the hospital later on or something. I don't think she died from the fall, but either way,
that's where the rumor is, where they say that she might have been pregnant.
Right. There's rumors if she was pregnant with this guy's baby and that's why she wanted to leave or whatever. I don't think there's ever been concrete ending to that, but she is seen a lot in that hotel. Around her room, there's been little boys, there's been I think there's like 5 or 6 like confirmed like spirits of people who either died nearby, died in the hotel or whatever on that ground that are there daily.
Wasn't there a little boy who drowned in a well?
In a river.
In a river?
That's like right where I think where the mine was or something. There was like a river there. But yeah, that's where the little boy spirit comes from, is that there was like the Santa Cruz River is right there, and he drowned there when he was like, I don't know, 6 or 7
That's
or something.
crazy. Because when we were doing ours, like there's no tour. You just walk into the hotel and it's an actual hotel. So it's not like, I don't even know if they like the fact that people are walking through.
No, they do. They asked us, they were like, are you guys checking in or are you just walking around? And she was like, help yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, we're walking around with the cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're looking, and obviously there's a lot of famous people who stayed there, like Houdini, John Wayne.
Yeah, Roosevelt. I forget. But yeah, there's been so many people.
Pretty famous people.
And they have the rooms where they stayed in, like it's written, like this is the Roosevelt room, this is the Houdini room where he stayed.
Yeah. And I believe Houdini stayed there quite often. Yeah, he like was, which is pretty interesting. Like, why Bisbee? Anyways, it's very interesting. They were down there, and we were filming the rooms and stuff like that. So I'm like maybe expecting to see like not their ghost, but something around there. Well, each story gets a little creepier as you go. There's like 3 stories or 4, I think maybe. My
stomach was hurting as soon as we walked in.
I think there's 3.
You could I was like, ooh, this place is just like weird. Like
more haunted than Tombstone.
Yeah.
That one building.
As soon as we walked in the entrance, literally standing in the lobby, I was like, I don't want to touch anything. Like, this is just a heavy energy almost.
Yeah. It's like The Shining.
Yeah.
If you watch The Shining with Jack Nicholson, that's exactly the feeling that you get. If I don't even know what it would be like to stay the night there. Oh my God.
I don't think I could. My stomach hurt too bad. And then you got ahead of me. I think you went up to the other floor.
We were on the second floor, and that's when we got split up.
Yeah. And I was alone and walking around. My parents were together, but I was alone and he was alone. And I was like, I don't want to be alone. I need to find somebody to like buddy up with because I don't like this feeling.
Oh, I was cool because I had my new glasses. I had these Ray-Ban glasses that I was using to film the experience. So like I'm walking around with these glasses, and I notice when I get up to the 3rd floor, so I don't know any of the stories about this. At this point, I know nothing about anything about a child, about the girl killing herself. I don't know anything. I just know it's haunted. So I go up to the third floor and I notice it's creepy. So you go up the third steps on the right hand side of the building. It's like this white staircase. I saw something go up with me. But like I turned around and nothing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a man with a suitcase, right? So I'm like, all right, maybe there's like, you know, I walk back down the staircase and there's actually a room right there, like a door. And I think it's like another famous person's room.
Yeah,
or something like
I
that.
remember.
But the door didn't open, it didn't shut. Nobody actually went in and out. So I thought that was very interesting. So I get up to the third story and that's when I feel like the most weird energy. It's just like very dark, seeping energy in your stomach, like almost like, you know, when you're starving, you know, you're very hungry. That's what it felt like, like a gnawing at your stomach. In the camera, you can see a little movement of an orb. With my physical eyes, I saw an orb, and it was around like it was like this, like the child, like maybe like a 7-year-old, 6-year-old child's head. You know, you can see an orb following me around the third story, and I literally said, I was like, I see you, I can see you, and I knew that it was a little boy because of the height, and it gave a very, you know, like a boy presence, not like a little girl or anything like that. I don't know.
Did you like hear anything or no?
No, I saw it. I saw the orb with my eyes. It was freaking dancing around in a freaking thing. And it went towards the wall, and the area that it went towards was literally where homegirl jumped off the balcony and killed herself, or like led to the events that killed her. I went out there and I was like standing there filming everything, and I was like, you know, because she said on the third story there's a balcony that you can oversee the pool. So I'm thinking like that's pretty cool. Yeah. At this point, I was like, you know, interested in the pool because it was so high. I don't know why actually. So I go out there and I wouldn't even call that a pool. Yeah. Personally. Anyways, I would not call that a pool. But the terrace that I was standing on was literally where she jumped off, and I'm over here filming, looking around, and I didn't feel anything weird out there at all. Actually, it felt very peaceful, felt calm. The second I went back inside that freaking door, all fucked up inside. It was just like,
no, that's so true.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a bad feeling. Like something bad's about to happen. Like when you turn off the lights as a kid at night and you're trying to run to your bedroom because you think it's about to go down.
No, that's exactly it. It's like you can just feel that like suspense, like your stomach's in knots because like you think something's gonna like happen, or like I don't know, just you can feel the energy because it was very, very heavy. And my mom and dad actually like left. They went out into the front like porch because they were like, yeah, it's too much. Like my mom didn't even go on the third floor, I don't think. Well, I think it was too much, and that's when she left because she was like getting lightheaded or something.
Well, I went on the third floor. This is where it gets interesting, and this is something I never even brought up, but like I think about it now because it's very, I don't know, nobody was staying there. There was nobody staying there. In fact, the guy, there was a lot of maintenance people cleaning up the rooms. So from my observations, when we were standing in front of all these people's freaking bedrooms, like if they were staying there, there was no noise, nothing. And I mean, if you understand this building, you could freaking fart and you can hear the damn fart from downstairs. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like there is no privacy of sound there. By any means, which I think about like back in the day, like you really got to be quiet. You couldn't have any like conversations with anybody. Everybody will know your business. Oh yeah. Like right now, if we were in one of those rooms talking like this, you could be across the hall in a whole another bedroom and you can hear this whole conversation. Nobody was there at that time. At least it was I think 1 o'clock or something like that. Well, on the third floor, I went from where the girl killed herself all the way around to the other side, and I was on the left hand side of the building at that corner. I turned on my camera and this gentleman walked literally down the hallway, looked at me, but he looked like he was from like the 20s or something. Like he was like a dapper. He looked very dapper is the way that I could describe him. And he had a suitcase that wasn't a rolling suitcase. It was the old school carry suitcase. And he was wearing like a gray suit with like a red tie. but it was the full ensemble. Like you had the vest, everything. That's not what Americans don't dress like that at all. Not nowadays. So I literally said sorry because like I thought it was weird. I'm not gonna film. I don't want to film anybody like go into their hotel room. Right? It's weird. That's weird. So I was like sorry, and like it was. He looked at me and turned around and walked away. No, nothing.
Yeah.
And in there, you can hear the footsteps. Like every step, the ground is making a lot of noise. It's like it's old wood.
Yeah, creaking
Like crazy. No noise from him at all. I thought it was so weird, dude.
Yeah, it was. Weren't you having trouble like recording?
And then we went to John Wayne's room. There when I record.
That's
I
when
was
I was
trying
like,
to take photos and I was trying to take pictures. It drained my battery completely on the freaking lens that I was using. And then on my camera phone, I was trying to take photos. Wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And I remember you were like, because it was kind of like a corner room, wasn't it? So you were like standing on one side trying to see, and then I remember you went on the other side, and same thing. You
wouldn't let me do it.
Record that like room, that corner. It was
I can explain it.
And that's when I was like, we need to go. Like I don't want to be in here anymore. It's just we've been in here for the time of period that I'm good with, and I want to leave.
Yeah. So that was Bisbee. And Bisbee's old. I mean, even I think they have the oldest bar in Arizona. There's and it's old, but it's really cool. If you're from Arizona and you haven't experienced these places, or if you moved to Arizona from an outside state, check it out. Bisbee and Tombstone are really cool.
Yeah,
like it's a blast from the past, dude. And if you want to see some paranormal experiences or have some paranormal experiences, I would say those two places are sure shots. For that. I think you went to Jerome.
Yeah, Jerome is like up north near like Flagstaff, Sedona, and it's the same thing. It's a ghost town, old mining town that's been abandoned, but there are a couple hotels there too, similar to the Copper Queen, where there have been so many reported sightings and
Did you and your mom have any experiences there?
I remember, like, it's a really small town. It's kind of like Tombstone. Like, there's only a couple streets in, like, Bisbee. And I remember we were at the Haunted Hamburger, which is, like, a restaurant there. And it looks at the hotel. So, like, if you're sitting in the window, you can see into the hotel. Or, no, actually, maybe it was a hospital. Either way. And I remember I was only, like, 8 at the time, 8 or 9. And my mom, like, was eating. And I remember she looked over. And she's so plain as day. She saw somebody in one of the windows and was like, oh, I thought that place was like abandoned or closed or whatever. And like, she was like, why is somebody standing in the window? And I remember she asked the waitress, like, is somebody like cleaning in there? Like, there's a woman standing there. And the lady was like, yeah, that, people say that all the time. Like, we see ghosts all the time. But she was like, literally, like, did that kind of like, no, like, there's got to be somebody like, there cleaning in there, or like somebody's standing there. I can see her. And yeah, that was another town where it's like, you just feel like, it's kind of like Bisbee. You just feel like that energy of like, oh, this is cool, like to see the history and to see everything. And then I want to leave. Like, I'm good on this. Like, and there is a graveyard and everything. And it's like this windy road to get up there. And it's cool to see. But yeah, same thing. It was a very like heavy energy of just like, we came, we saw, let's go.
Let's get
like, I don't want to hang out here.
Yeah, we have to go.
Yeah,
and we have to go now because I haven't gone at all. I haven't explored the north up there, but like we're in the south. Yeah. I haven't explored northern Arizona, Jerome, or any of those places, but that's some place we got to go because I've heard so many crazy stories about Jerome, and I think they say it's the most haunted city
in Arizona.
I thought it was in the country.
Yeah, probably. It's definitely up there.
Yeah. Like it's pretty crazy from what I hear. So we gotta do a guest tour.
Straight up. Yeah.
I remember
to see it too.
We were going to do a freaking. Oh my god, this is like they were doing. We own a crystal shop, obviously. So I remember one time in Tombstone, was it Tombstone or Bisbee? They were going to do a seance. And then we were gonna sell crystals there.
Oh, that was in Bisbee. That was at the Copper Queen.
I thank
Yeah,
God.
they
Thank
do
you.
it like
Thank
once
you.
a month.
We didn't make that mistake. We just thought maybe this will be cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, when they said seance, I was like, you know, man, because that is a actual haunted area.
Yeah,
I
no,
just don't think this would be a good idea.
do seances in Bisbee, I think like once a month at the Copper Queen. And yeah, no. I'm good off that.
I'm good off that.
Yeah, no, literally. But we did go to Flagstaff.
Yes.
And
my
didn't
God.
you have
I did.
something happen in Flagstaff? too?
So we stayed in Flagstaff at a regular hotel. I think it's like because they
Like-
have.
Best Western or something.
If you have a lot of dogs, the Best Western is where you go. We have 3 pit bulls. If you're from there, just let us go.
Yeah.
No, it is a trouble because we definitely told you we had 2 dogs, but
We
whatever.
definitely said there was one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
But we were there. We were staying a night, and obviously on a trip out there, like it's beautiful. If you haven't visited Flagstaff, if you like skiing or anything like that, we don't ski, but people who ski go there a lot apparently.
Yeah, it's so simple.
The slopes are beautiful, and it's right above Sedona, and you can visit Sedona. I think it's the most beautiful area in Arizona, in my opinion. So we're sleeping at night. We go into the bed, and we're laying down. Obviously, I'm giving like a rundown for no reason. And then I brush my teeth, and then I took a breath of air. So literally, we're laying down, and I think it's maybe like 5 minutes into the rest. I start to see this orb appear. Like it's like a green orb. It starts off faint and it gets very vibrant. It's like neon green at this point in the corner of the room where the dogs are sleeping. And I see a face out of the orb. I just see this face. And it, believe it or not, it looked like Chester Bennington, the lead singer from Linkin Park that passed away.
Oh, right. Was that like right around the time that he passed away?
It was a
too,
year
right?
after he passed away.
Okay.
And I mean, rest in peace. I don't have any particular like connection. I don't really care about Linkin Park that much. I think maybe when I was a teenager, I thought they had good music, but it's nothing that I'm connected to. I don't care about Chester Bennington. I don't care about that particular individual to be seeing that individual at a hotel room at night. It might not have been him. It could have been a dude's face that died or a ghost that looked like Chester Bennington. He looked like him. It just looked like him.
Yeah.
And that's the experience. I think as soon as it noticed me noticing it, it dispersed and went away. And that was the experience. It was very off. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember like waking up like, Emily, just fucking saw Chester. Chester Bennington.
I remember it was weird. And wasn't it like on the last night that we were there too? Because I remember like when we were getting ready to leave, you were like, all right, let's.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And I think that isn't the only experience. I mean, even here in Tucson, we've had our own experiences. What is the place called?
The 22nd Street Antique Mall, which is like one of the most haunted places in Tucson. It's in like a couple like books and stuff. And I actually think it was like originally gonna close because the original owner, it was obviously cost a lot of money to maintain, but also because of these like ghost encounters and stuff, I feel like people were like not really shopping there.
Or there was people who didn't want to have their inventory there.
Right. There was like something with the ghost, and then obviously like financial issues where they almost stopped, but then they have like a new owner now and everything's good. But there are still reported ghost encounters in this antique mall, and Anthony
I had my experience
had
there.
one when we were there.
So we go there often, and at this point we had no idea this place is haunted. This is just an antique mall that has a lot of cool stuff in there. If you're around, go there. They have interesting things.
Yeah.
So we're looking around, and we're in this back area
which is definitely like
it's next
weird
level
spot.
Oh no,
like,
it's
creepy.
weird. It's as weird and as creepy, and it messes me up worse than Bisbee, worse than anything in Tombstone. I just every time, and the first indication that I know is I starve inside. Like something is like I feel like I haven't ate for millennia or something like that.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm feeling the emotion of the ghost. Maybe ghosts like want to eat. I don't know. I have no idea. That could be. I just made that up on the spot. But that's what it feels like. Something's gnawing at your stomach the second you walk past the threshold of the building into this add-on.
And of course, like this part is like darker than the rest. Like the lighting
Oh, yeah.
is just like poorer here.
Yeah.
And like there is like an upstairs.
It looks like an old lumberyard back area, or like when you go into you know what it looks like, dude, when you go on a Pirates of the Caribbean and it's not lit up.
Yeah.
It's creepy. You go back there and you're like, dude, this is like fucked up, bro.
And the upstairs part of it is like old like furniture. It's like so freaking creepy. There's like bassinets and like bed frames and just like creepy like old furniture, like baby dolls and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, why nobody's gonna buy this? Like, why do you have this out here? Like
somebody put it like, and it's all, you know, individual like units, or people like rent them out, so it's just individuals out here.
Yeah.
And it's like almost like they're perpetuating the crazy energy up there.
I hate that area.
So we're downstairs and like we walk towards, so when you go around the first bend right there, there's like there's a religious artifacts thing over here that's like dedicated to Catholicism on this side, and there's this like almost like a elevator section where you can store stuff.
Yes.
And then there's a staircase that goes upstairs. So I'm back there by myself. Emily's like looking at something in one of the other sections, and dude, this like dude, it was this man, this tall man, he's European with a top hat and a trench coat, literally, and he looked like the crypt keeper actually, like, but he had like skin, pasty, just old, very old, pasty, bony man, and he was standing right in front of me, like I was walking, and I was like going to walk around him, like to get out of his way, because I was thinking, like, you know, there's a lot of interesting characters in Tucson. So like when you see something like this, you're like, this is
just a weird person.
This is an individual who's living their life, but also like wearing the outfit and everything. I'm like, this person's just living his life. Yeah. Well, he wasn't living his life because there was nobody there.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as I took a step forward towards him and I looked up to go look up at him again and acknowledge him, like to say like hi or something, to be polite, nobody. Gone. Absolutely gone. And I'm tripping. I'm like looking around like, I'm like literally looking around. Emily's not to be found. Nobody's to be found. I start panicking. I'm like, dude, is this like one of those moments? Like, what is going on here? And I believe you were like around the corner already. So like I caught up with you and told you. And then we went up to the counter and I told the guy who works there, who owns it, and I was like, dude, do you guys have like a ghost here or something like that? Because I saw a spirit in the back area. And he was like, oh, bro, look at this book right here. And it's like right in front of me. It was Haunted Tucson. Like, it was one of the top places. Yeah. So he was, and you actually, that was the first time that there was a man. It's usually a woman who was there.
Yeah. Did you get touched there or no?
I've been touched there before after that experience.
Because that's what in that area they were telling us, like that spot specifically is where you feel like a tap on your like shoulder, or like your side, or There
was a woman that got sexually harassed. 2 women actually, and I think they were people who were renting out spots there.
And like older employees and stuff have had been like
their butt slapped or something like that.
Their butt slapped by a male ghost that's in that area.
And up until that point, they hadn't seen a male ghost. They were seeing an older woman actually that was showing up. So maybe that's the male ghost that is slapping everybody's ass. Yeah. And it's an old, tall dude. He's like freaking 6'5", huge, lanky, scary looking dude. You know what I'm saying? Like Abraham Lincoln.
He's like nice backside toots.
Yeah, nice toots there. I like the ankles.
Yeah. Ooh, you show off your ankles.
Look at the wrist. Literally. Oh yeah, so that place is pretty haunted. If you're in Tucson, check it out. And I think there's a lot of haunted places out here too. I think Hotel Congress.
I was gonna say the Hotel Congress, I think, is like a big one. There's a lot of like old buildings downtown because again, Tucson and Tombstone were like coming up at the same time in like the late 1800s. So yeah, a lot of those buildings are original or restored and things like that. And there have been a lot of experiences at the Hotel Congress with like lights and things like that, with the staff like reporting that.
And then speaking of old buildings and places that were built in Tucson, this place that we're living in right now, this place is clearly like there's something here.
This is like a 1956 build, I believe. Yeah. Like our whole neighborhood.
And as you guys clearly during this pod, you can see the door shut. There's no air conditioning on. There's no wind. There's nothing. Yeah. That thing just freaking not shut but opened up.
Yeah, open.
Opened up from a shut position. Like.
Yeah.
I don't even think you understand. You know. Which is hilarious.
We've had experiences with the bedroom light
with like, this one right
being on.
And
yes. Both of us, I did not turn it on. You did not turn it on.
We don't even go into this back room right here. This is a guest room. Nobody goes in there. There's no reason to go in there. There's nothing that would indicate for, it's like this closet right here. There's no reason to go in there. Well, sometimes you'll walk by at night and you'll notice the freaking light's on.
And like the switch is up.
Yes, you have to flip the switch. Yeah. There is no, it's not like anything else. There's no, electrical problems here. It's a flip switch.
Yeah.
So that's happened a couple times. I'm obviously I'm like, have you been in there? Like, are you going in there and looking at like something else? And she's like, no, not at all. Are you doing anything in there? No. Another thing is, I've seen a little boy here, like a little shadow figure, a little boy shadow figure, and I've seen animals.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like, but it's like a dog. It's a black dog, and it's always in here, running around, and I see it around the corners almost every night.
Yeah, I was gonna say the corners. Yeah, literally, you'll like see it out of like the corner of your eye, and it's not a shadow because if you look, there's nothing there.
Nothing.
But like, yeah, so many times out of the corner of my eye, I've seen like a dog. Sometimes I've seen a cat too. Yeah. Something like going around the corner the way like an animal would. And yeah, just been like, what the?
And I mean, even at night. So when I come out here at night to like drop the thermostat down at temperature 1 degree, I see our dog Moonlight. She runs around. She's a white dog, and she's always noodling around at night and wants to figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's her thing. Well, I'll yell at her. I'll be like, Moonlight, get in your cage, or like go lay down somewhere. Stop running around.
Yeah.
And she'll be laying on a damn couch.
Yeah.
And I just yelled at an apparition.
Yeah.
And it looks just like my dog, identical. And then obviously it's gone. Like you don't see it because it went around the end, and you're just looking. Oh wait, Moon's right here.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Yeah.
That happens to me.
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
Dude, I'm like, oh, and I don't say anything to you. I just like, you're just gonna go to bed. We're just gonna go to bed. I say my prayers. And nothing's happened. Nothing terrible has ever happened to us here. And I don't think that anything that is here has those intentions. I think they just live here. Maybe we don't even understand what the concepts of ghosts truly are. Maybe this is something that, humanity is going to be able to explore through science. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would hope that we figure this out because, there's been people who've had bad experiences, obviously, like the poltergeist experiences where like demonic presence takes over a house and possesses the house or possesses individuals. Clearly that's different. Clearly there's a difference between demons and ghosts.
Right. Yeah the ghosts that we've encountered here definitely don't mean any harm. They're just,
and even in some of the other places,
and in between, just living their life, and we just happen to be occupying the same space. Who's
to say?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But I think that's all we got so far.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm sure there will be more. Maybe talking about like some other stories, some other locations. I know like growing up you had some.
I have a ton of ghost encounters in California. So I think that will be another podcast that we'll do eventually.
Yeah.
Talking about some of the paranormal experiences, because not only are they like they're ghost encounters, shape-shifting accounts, where people would call it shapeshifters now. Nobody knows the technical term. Well, actually they do. Some of the tribes actually have the names for that stuff. Okay. But I'm saying like nowadays, what that would be labeled as, you know what I'm saying? Or what it is. I have some stories, man. And I'm willing to share, especially stories from Old Town San Diego, man. And some of my ancestors are buried there. They helped build that. And some of them were, the indigenous that were there, the Kumeyaay, that were forced into building those areas. So I've seen a lot of different types of spirits in San Diego, and it's just very interesting, to say the least.
So there you go. Till next time.
All right. Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Mahalo.